Welcome to the Maxwell Leadership Executive Podcast, where our goal is to help you increase your reputation as a leader, increase your ability to influence others, and increase your ability to fully engage your team to deliver remarkable results. Hi, I'm Perry Holly, a Maxwell Leadership Facilitator and Coach.
And I'm Chris Cody, Executive Vice President, Maxwell Leadership. Welcome and thank you for joining. As we always start, we want to just make sure you have a place where you can leave a comment, a question, maybe even a topic that you'd like for us to talk about. That is maxwellleadership.com/podcast. And there's a form that you can fill out, even if you want to learn more about the 5 levels of leadership and how we use that as a foundation for training and for coaching as we work on enhancing the culture of organizations. Want more information, you can do that there. I love the title that we're going after today. This is something that we're talking a lot about around here. And as times shift, I think leaders ought to talk about this a lot. And it's really around momentum. And so Perry's developed some content for us today. And the title of our session is, Can Leaders Manufacture Momentum? I love that. Reminds me of the 21 laws where John talks about the law of the big mo and how momentum as a leader is your best friend. Right. I think I've heard John also say that if you have momentum, it'll actually solve 80% of your problems without you even know it. And I'm like, that's what I want.
I need some of that.
I need some of that. We are problem solvers by nature as leaders. And so if you can have momentum and it would help do that, then man, how awesome would that be? We've also heard it say it's the great exaggerator. I've heard John say, hey, when things are going well, it's not all because of your leadership. It's momentum. But, hey, also, sometimes we have momentum on the other side, negative side. And when things are going bad, and that's not all your fault either, but that can be momentum. And you and I talk a lot about sports on here, and you can really feel it. And I even can lean over to my wife or whoever I'm sitting with and say, man, they have the momentum right here. And then you see the opposing coach call a timeout. You better get a timeout, coach. Something's going wrong. So there's lots of energy created around this. Talk a little bit about your desire behind creating this content for our listeners.
Well, I think if you've been a leader for any amount of time, you know what this feels like. You know when things are just are clicking and people are moving with intention, and even if you may not be closing every sale, but it feels like you are. It just has got a great feeling. And you've also felt the other side of that, where things maybe not feel like they're working. It's sluggish. People they don't know what they're doing, or they're slow to react. They're not moving the way we should. And so I've heard Mark Cole, our CEO, talk about manufacturing momentum. As you said, we've been talking about it a good bit here, but I don't know if we've ever talked about it on the podcast. And I've actually personally never thought about, can I do things as a leader, practical things that would help me increase the chances of that momentum. And I've heard, John will use the example when he speaks about it, about a train on a track going 60 miles an hour. You can put a steel reinforced wall in the track, and that train, because of the momentum of movement on that, it will go right through it. But getting a train moving, you could put a very small item on the track and it can't go because it doesn't take much to keep it from going. But once you get it going, it's hard to stop it. So I thought I would present, 5 or 6 ideas that we could look at, maybe you could respond to those and help me share those. The first one that I had on there was that leaders must set clear goals and expectations. And if you think about it, it really makes sense. If I'm not going to have a lot of success at building momentum towards something if I don't know what I'm going towards. So if you expect to manufacture momentum, you really need to have a clear sense of direction of what we're heading for. And more than that, the people on your team need to know what to expect on that. So when you have specific, measurable goal expectations on the team, they won't hesitate generally to get involved with that. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think if your team doesn't know where you're going or what you're going after, and they're not clear about that, there's no doubt that'll be a momentum killer. It makes me think about an example of currently right now we're in a season at Maxwell Leadership where we're getting ready for what we call IMC, the International Maxwell Conference, and we built a scorecard around that, and we were very clear up front saying, this is where we're going, this is what we're doing, and we want to make this impact, we want to do this. And so we created things that were very clear about what we wanted to accomplish. Now, did we accomplish all of those goals that we clearly communicated? We didn't. However, we've seen momentum and seen a shift in the culture of everybody getting behind this movement, which has created momentum that we may not feel in this particular event. It may show up a couple months later, but it's been fascinating because we've never been as clear before about this one team, one enterprise, everybody on board. This is what we're doing. This is what we're going after. And it's been fascinating to just kind of sit back and watch it. Even though, again, hear me, leaders, we may not hit every single one of our KPIs. However, we've been very clear and we're measuring it, which we'll talk about, and that has created some momentum.
Essentially, a great example too, because what I noticed being in the mix of that, you're actually in the front of that, but everybody's talking about it. Everybody's communicating about it. And even though we may not hit 100% of those goals, everybody knows what they are. Everybody is doing their part. And there's no confusion in that. I'm also thinking about, come down a level, our team. We've now gone to a scorecard system on our team meetings. Everybody's sharing what their goals are, where they are, red, yellow, green, where are you? What do you need help to do? So that vision is out there. Here's what we all have a goal, what we're trying to accomplish, and then we say, how are we doing? And so for me, we are never going to have momentum if we don't come clean on where are we going and where are we.
That's good.
How are we going? Same thing with the IMC. So it used to be, I know in years past, see in Orlando.
It will show up. That's exactly right. No, that's exactly right.
This has been,
and it's funny because I hadn't thought about this, but we teach at the foundation of the 5 levels of leadership as we shift cultures with organizations. We say, hey, common language leads to beliefs that leads to behaviors. I hadn't thought about it till you just said a minute ago. Everybody's talking about it. Right. So then the beliefs of the people are beginning to follow that, and then the behavior. And as leaders, that's really what we're going after when it comes to momentum, when it comes to culture, is that behavioral change. So it's a good,
it's funny. Some people are complaining about it, and because you want me to do what? But that even is good because it says everything's moving, and you got to get on this train.
They do, yeah.
And then that gave us an opportunity to say, well, here maybe you're not clear on why we're doing this. Yeah. And then the naysayers kind of faded, and the voices became for it. So yeah, it is a building.
We may go completely off topic here. Sorry for those that are listening and watching. You just said even some of the things we were doing to create momentum. People are like, well, that's not my day job.
Yeah,
I don't want to do that. I'm not comfortable doing that. And what was interesting was, and that's true and that's fair, but it is a momentum shift that we're making as an organization. What was fascinating to watch for those that say, hey, that's really not in my sweet spot. I don't want to do that in regards to what we're going after, whatever. I saw the team rally around that person and said, hey, let me take that off of you.
Right.
You do a couple, whatever that is. Let me, and it was, so then I saw the team create momentum as a unit, not necessarily the individuals. And so just another little topic
That's the podcast for today, folks.
There you go. There's our 20 minutes that we try to keep this one under. But and we're completely off of Perry's content that he created for us. But we're going to dive back in here. So the second one, as we talk about can leaders manufacture momentum, is you must celebrate successes and milestones. This goes back to, we'll stay on this example right here for a minute, is that no matter how small, you've got to celebrate it. It's a powerful motivator. It's something that can help you not only maintain, but then maybe increase the momentum a little bit. And you need to reward progress, but do it specifically. I say this a lot around values, about recognizing certain things. Make sure that you are rewarding or complimenting that's in alignment with where we're going as a goal, what we clearly stated, as you mentioned in level 1. But make sure that you just give those small wins, and that creates more momentum. And if you do that, then I think that'll be key to helping you manticipate
totally
that.
Agree. And if you want a momentum killer, here's one for you. Don't recognize.
Don't say anything.
Don't say anything. As people actually, the way I've heard it, because I come out of a sales background, was, that's really great, Perry. What have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
And that will just kill it right there. People don't feel like their work is being recognized. One thing I've noticed is that everyone that I know is working hard right now. I don't know anybody that's kind of kicking back and taking it. There's a lot of change. There's a lot of dynamics happening. And what I've learned is people do not mind working hard if you acknowledge that you see they're working hard. And it's just like, I just need somebody to know I'm putting in a lot here. And when you do that, when you celebrate, when you recognize, when you affirm and appreciate, it just gives people that second wind to I can keep going, because not only are you in it with me, I'm in it. And that is a momentum builder to me. So that, I think I made it number 2 about recognizing it's such an important one that often gets overlooked.
So you're talking about, real quick, in sales. So what you're saying is that if it was the last day of the month and, the next day when we come in at the beginning of the month, I usually say, hey, well, that was last month. What are you doing? You're saying I shouldn't say that. I should probably at least acknowledge a little bit.
I didn't know if you'd be able to pick that up.
One of my team made sure that they said, hey, Perry, will you talk to Chris about it? Yeah, that's right.
No, you're actually very good about this. You wait like 2 days.
I wait till the second day of the month.
So we celebrate on Monday. Now get back to it
Get
on
back
Tuesday.
to work.
Hey, podcast listeners. Do you have a clear plan for growth? Achieving big results most often does not require big life changes. Small improvements over time compound into big results. Download the Maxwell Leadership app. It's the new free app where our expert guides and John Maxwell help you pace your leadership journey and set a clear plan for your own personal growth. You can also find all sorts of resources on the Maxwell Leadership app, including this podcast, information on upcoming events, and much more. Just search Maxwell Leadership in your app store and download the app today.
All right, number 3, leaders must provide support and resources to do this. I think if you want to maintain this type of momentum, you need things that, what do the people need? What is the team needing? You should, do they have the tools? Do they have the training? Do they have the development? It really is about keeping your ear and your eyes focused on where are they, how are they doing, and what is needed, and that you may be able to bring resources to bear. It may just be a helping hand. It could be a tool. It could be a piece of software. It could just be something simple, but they need to know that that you're in there. It encourages people to keep going, that you're looking for active ways to help me out.
Yeah, let me use an internal example again here. This is just so relevant to what we're working with right now. Every Wednesday, we hold a leadership team meeting, and we have a business plan review. So for those of you that are familiar with Alan Mulally, who turned around Ford and led Boeing, a tremendous book, American Icon, that he wrote. In there, he talks about the process that he used to turn around Ford. And part of that is this meeting structure. And one of the things that we've started doing is now our entire leadership team gets in a room and we're all engaged in what each other business looks like. What are their metrics? What are their numbers? To your point a little bit earlier, we have a color system, which some are familiar with. And so what it allows us to do is when someone, you even mentioned it in our meeting the other day, you said, so just so that we're clear, so back to point number 1 that you have for us today, when we show a yellow or a red, that means, hey, I need the team, I need our leaders to help support, to help the resource, to help solve it. And I was like, absolutely, that's the point of it. And so when you do that, again, you work through that as a team and as a unit, but you're also providing support and resources for that.
If you're looking for the momentum killer, there it is. Oh, there's a yellow, there's a red. And then boom, you come down on people. The way we're doing it, and I love what Mulally did so well, was when somebody finally boldly showed a yellow or a red, the team came around them and said, that's a momentum builder, because now we have a lot of smart people thinking about the challenges that one department or one person has, and bringing those resources. So
yeah, love that.
Great example.
Well, number 4, leaders must promote collaboration and teamwork. This kind of builds off of 3 if you're doing it as a leader to an individual or as a team where, we're sharing the purpose and we're trying to build momentum behind what we're doing. There's a common goal. We begin to trust each other, right? We're solving problems. Let's say there's a yellow or there's a red, or we're struggling a little bit, lacking momentum, and someone's like, hey, let me help you with that. The team gets around, collaborates. Within an hour, you may have helped move that needle forward a little bit, and you're building trust with each other. And it makes sure that you're not out there working on an island. Right. And what I love about this and being collaborative and teamwork to create momentum is there's a lot of people on our team and on your team, if you're listening or you're watching us, that can bring a lot to the table. At times, we just stifle it. We don't ask. Mm-hmm. And there are things that they can share with us. Their voices want to be heard in order for us to help create momentum. So I'm a big teamwork guy. It's one of my top 5 values. And I believe that you can accomplish more together with a team and create more momentum.
John says 1 is too small a number to do anything.
Yeah, that's good.
Great. And I also think I'm hearing Don Yeager in my ear talking that he's so keen on teamwork as he teaches us that that's the beauty of being on a team, and we're not just a bunch of, what does he say, private contractors, they're trying to do the same job. No, we are on a team, and there's some characteristics that really add advantage to building momentum. Number 5, keep the focus on the big picture. And the idea here is if you want to maintain momentum, what are the long-term, the big picture, where are we going, and what are we trying to accomplish? That if you're continuously communicating the vision and the mission, team members need to know, and here's the real catch for me on momentum, do I know what my role, what my team, why does it matter what I do? How do I fit into what the bigger picture is? So as you're thinking about momentum, keeping the big picture, and then everybody on the team knows what they do, how it matters to where we're going. I'm not irrelevant. I'm relevant to where we're going.
Yeah, I love you made a note here on my side of the notes that says working a plan that is not working will kill momentum. Yeah. In essence, it really will. And so the big picture, the focus on what that KPI is for that team or for the organization, it won't change. But how we go about that is going to change. And you need to make changes along the way. You and I fly a ton. And we know that from being on planes, whether we're sitting in holding patterns 30,000 feet, letting storms go by, or we're moving storms along the way, that pilot is continuing. He knows where we're going. For us, it's Atlanta, and we're grateful for that because Perry and I very rarely have to get connections because we live here in Atlanta.
Yeah.
But we know we're going to Atlanta. How they're going to go about getting there will change.
Yeah,
the course
good.
direction will change.
Yeah.
But the big picture is get Chris and Perry back to Atlanta. Usually Perry's in the front of the plane, Chris is in the back of the plane.
I love that.
Or, as we talk a lot about with the upgrades list, we always screenshot each other. We always usually end up first loser is what we call it, where all the upgrades have been given. And then we're the number one on the list that's next.
With no seats remaining.
With no seats remaining.
With no seats remaining.
That's right.
You first
just
loser.
Think about us, Futuristic. But man, that podcast, Perry and Chris, it was so good. That just reminds me that I am first loser, which, by the way, does not create momentum for Perry and I when it comes to our excitement around flying. We definitely don't want to do that.
At Delta, if you're listening.
Yeah, that's
we
right.
don't like doing that.
Yeah. Hey, number 6 is be a role model of positive energy. Perry, you talk a lot about our team is watching us
all the time.
All the time. And you're going to set the tone, and your attitude is going to be contagious, and it's going to have a powerful impact on the team. And so we need to make sure that we roll up our sleeves, that we get in it, that we're whatever the job responsibilities of your team, your leadership, your organization, man, roll up the sleeves, have a positive energy, and get in there with it. When you do that, they're going to be willing to take risks. They'll be willing to work a little bit harder. As you talk about rowing the boat, they're going to be engaged with us. They're going to be giving us discretionary effort. And one of the things I want to mention here is when you're doing that, make sure you're doing it authentically. Don't come in being a cheerleader. That's not your authentic style of bringing positive energy to the room. You bring energy in your own natural way. Do that. Just do it in a positive way. And the other thing I would say around this is that you're going to go through failures. You're going to make mistakes. The team is. That may shift the course of the direction, may change the momentum a little bit, but with a positive approach and a positive mindset, you'll be able to kind of redirect that. And a lot of people, I just want to throw this in here, a lot of people talk about, man, when we hit that speed bump, it really kind of derailed us and we never regained momentum. What I would challenge you to do is learn from that, but also as you feel momentum as a leader and as you're manufacturing it, man, take some time to back up and reflect and say, why is that working? Like really evaluate the success behind the manufacturing of that momentum, because that is also something that you can replicate.
Yeah, momentum starts with the leader, and I often say AIAO, attitude in, attitude out. What you put in, energy out as well. People are watching, they're feeling it, and you're going to have a difficult time starting and maintaining momentum if you don't have that optimistic, can-do, forward, great attitude, looking outward. Like you said, things are going to hit you. Right now we're in challenging times.
Right.
What a great time to really let your momentum pick up and carry you through challenges, even by just staying positive about it.
Yeah. Let me say this around momentum, just a thought that popped in, and I'll wrap us up here in just a minute. At the end of the day, there are opportunities in challenging times where you do have small wins that will help you create momentum. And as you acknowledge them and you stay focused, that's going to happen. If you're intentional about kind of your plan and you're consistent about your focus, there are going to be things that create momentum that maybe are not tied to your bottom line. We were in a meeting yesterday, and our CFO was talking about, hey, so we may have missed this mark, but let me tell you, when it comes to cost of this particular thing, we were able to shave off 6 figures off of this because we were very intentional. So don't lose the fact that we made progress there. Now, what did that do? That created momentum for the operational side of the house. It's like, yes, man, we contributed to that. And so just know there's all kinds of ways to create momentum around that, even during difficult times where you're not hitting
that's
goals.
a big picture thing. We in that one area, but in the big picture of things. So that's why I love a leader needs to see we're doing well here. We're having trouble. The momentum, if you look at the big picture where we're going, momentum still stays in place, even though we might have lacked on one, we picked up on another.
That's good. Yeah. Well, I'm just going to wrap up real quick. So here are the 6 things. If you're watching us or listening to us, I want you to write these down.
I heard we're on YouTube.
We are on YouTube. Yes, they even let us on YouTube.
We got an award. It's,
I think our team got an award. Okay. I don't know if we got an award.
I shouldn't have tweeted that out. Sorry.
Yeah, that's right. But just take a minute and write these down. Again, if you're listening or watching us, these are key things that Perry's just given us, very applicable things that you can create momentum and manufacture momentum. Number 1, make sure you set clear goals. Number 2, celebrate small wins along the way. Number 3, provide support and resources. Number 4, foster collaboration and teamwork. Number 5, keep focus on the big picture. And then finally, make sure that you're modeling, because leadership is contagious. It's also a visual sport, modeling positive energy.
Terrific. Thank you, Chris. Great stuff. Just a reminder, and Chris told you at the top, if you'd like to learn more about our offerings, if you'd like to leave a comment or a question for us, if you'd like to download the learner guide, you can do all of that at maxwellleadership.com/podcast. We love hearing from you, and we really are grateful that you would spend this time with us. That's all today from the Maxwell Leadership Executive Podcast.